Yo, what is going on? PartTimerZack here. So they actually made an announcement for the Punishing Gray Ravens issues. They decided to come out today on their Twitter and say, hey, we hear you. We got the feedback from you guys, and we're hear you loud and clear. We want to make sure to fix some issues and talk about what we're going to be doing to fix those. So honestly, I was so surprised to see this so fast. Honestly, I would have just waited a little bit had I known that they were going to be giving something like this. However, it's nice to see that, hey, they have some communication, and it seems like after reading a little bit of this stuff that they are listening to some point and going to be doing some things for some issues that they kind of address. So that's what this main little topic up here is talking about, is basically, hey, we heard your feedback and we want to definitely do what they can to essentially alleviate the issues that they've had and go over some things that, you know, are improvements. So essentially, let's go into the first thing. So a lot of people are having issues, obviously, with the event not being as free to play friendly, and they agreed that they, you know, conveyed that very wrongly, and that they kind of made the impression that it was free to play. But after, you know, a bunch of people dug into it and realized that it was not really free to play, and they said because of this, it pushed players towards spending black cards or real money currency items to claim all rewards. This flies against the reputation we've established in other countries or other regions for generous rewards through normal play. While we're past the point where we can massively rebalance the event and rework rewards, we will extend the event, which is what I kind of figured they were going to do because it's like the easiest fix. So to ensure that players that log in daily will have to or be able to earn sufficient cell batteries to claim more reward, we have pushed the event deadline back to August 8th. Despite the extended time provided, some players may still have to spend a small amount of black cards or bonus battery tokens via game packs to receive every reward from this event. So obviously, it's still kind of a sucky thing that at the end they have to say, hey, you may have to spend some black cards, but honestly, it's a little better to spend a little bit of black cards versus real currency and just a bunch of it. So they don't really say they don't really say much about what they're going to be doing for the people who already went ahead and spent the black cards or the real money currency. I don't know if they're going to eventually address that. And that's kind of the part that's lacking a little bit on this one. But honestly, it's just nice that they extended it, and maybe they'll kind of reaffirm something later down the road, because they did say at the beginning here that they've kind of scrambled to come up with this list and kind of get stuff going, and they'll have more details a little bit later. So the next part is what we kind of talked about with the rainbow card and monthly pass pricing. So probably the largest issue reported by players is the irritation that, you know, essentially that you have 28 cards and instead of 30, which is just kind of a weird thing. So instead of like just changing the pricing on the monthly pass A, apparently they're just going to make a brand new one and they're going to call it monthly pass C. So apparently this one's going to cost exactly 28 rainbow cards, and as such will be $4.99. The overall reward ratio of black cards for this new monthly pass will be equal to the monthly pass A minus an amount of roughly equivalent to 2 rainbow cards. So you can actually have A or C at one time. So you can definitely have both of these at the same time, apparently. Instead of reducing the amount for monthly pass A, I guess they just decided that it'd be better to make a new pass, which honestly, it's whatever. If you guys want to get the other pass, you get a couple more rewards essentially for paying that extra money, but they are going to be giving you essentially a one that's 1-for-1 for that cards that you actually get for rainbow cards. So honestly, that's not the worst case scenario. I was hoping that they would just kind of tweak the main pass, but that's okay that they kind of added a new one. At least it gives you guys the option anyway. They did say though that it will take a little bit of time to implement, so just keep an eye on the social medias for when the fix is actually, you know, deployed. So right now I would just kind of take a back seat and kind of just chill on spending any currency in the game so they can kind of get stuff reworked a little bit and go from there. So the next thing I want to talk about is the novice mission rewards. So they did bring up the fact that the reason that it's 50 instead of 100 like other regions is because it actually has a outfit on it. So one of you guys actually said in the comments that this was probably the issue, that wasn't able to kind of see that in other regions, because this was actually a beta thing. For playing in the beta, essentially you were able to get this outfit, and instead of doing that, obviously they just added it to the actual novice missions. And so that's why they kind of revamped the way it was, because they wanted to make it equal, I guess, essentially for that outfit, and it converted to some sort of value. So they halved essentially the black cards that you get in order to make up for that outfit that you got for free essentially, or, you know, doing the novice missions anyway. Honestly, you know, the outfits, whatever, I would rather have black cards because I like to just have more freedom. I'd like to just be able to kind of play where I want to and use it that way. However, I do kind of understand though that that's the reason that they kind of have to. So it's just nice that they said it and they're like, hey, this is the reason, instead of just being like, hey, we did it, you know what I mean? So it's just nice to see that they at least gave us a reason of why they kind of did it. And so they also went on to say that, you know, the novice mission rewards are available permanently, so you don't have to rush or anything to get that. You can definitely do it whenever you want to. And that brings us into the next little part here and that brings us into this one. So this one's a little bit of just a PSA. I feel like it's just a little bit of a general stuff. So This one is talking about rates and exchanges and taxes. A lot of people are just speculating the tax issue, and that's why some of the prices were fluctuated. They're basically saying that Google Play and App Store have their own pricing templates, which is true, that they do kind of hold a restriction essentially on certain prices. Well, it is up to the game devs, obviously, to see how much that is actually worth. You know, think for the Rainbow, like 28, you know, that's their idea of saying that's worth $5 to them. However, it's really kind of hard in certain rates and certain exchanges to give a certain price because they can't really fluctuate too much on a price, mainly because the App Store and the Google Play Store kind of hold value over that, and they kind of have to bargain a little bit with those respective things. So as they do have, you know, control over the way that their game rewards are, you know, think of, you know, instead of 28, you can get 30 or whatever for $5. They obviously have control over that. It's just a matter of the actual pricing and the conversions for the pricing that it's a little bit of an issue. So next thing is font sizes. I'm guessing a lot of you guys are going to be very happy about this because it doesn't really matter too much on my PC, but when I'm on my phone, man, it is so small. Like I can hardly see anything. So I just want to thank everybody who has brought this up issue and helped us identify what the text is worst affected on low resolutions. Your feedback is invaluable. So essentially what they're going to be doing is just kind of looking at it and seeing what's going on and see if they can't kind of, you know, adjust and optimize that to make it a little bit more better for optimization for hardware. So obviously if you're running on PC, you probably don't have the issue as much, but when I'm running on my phone, it just seems really small. So that goes into the next part. So PC version. A lot of us have been saying, hey, please give us something like Genshin has, where they have a mobile version, a PC version, and let us play. So this is something that they said that they're looking into or debating anyway, that the viability essentially of a native PC release, but they are saying that they have fully endorsed the use of Android emulators. So essentially, you know, like BlueStacks, stuff like that, which should provide a full speed. I've never had any issues with my BlueStacks and higher refresh rate and even ultra wide monitors, but our native gamepad and keyboard control options should allow you to fully enjoy the game on PC for the time being. So this one's kind of up in the air. I feel like they're really going to kind of look into it a little bit and kind of see what it looks like if they were to release the PC, because they have to kind of work a little bit harder essentially to get a PC version of it. But, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just a matter of like how many people are actually playing on their PCs versus their mobile, and how does that kind of work? Honestly, I feel like they should do it. The game would look phenomenal on a PC version, and I feel like a lot of people just don't like going through the hassle of like BlueStacks and all that crap. They just want to download Punishing Gray Ravens on a PC client and just run it. So honestly, I feel like it's something that they should do, but you know, it's ultimately up to them. So the other couple of reasons here are just talking about some different things about, you know, local policies and copyright restrictions that made launching the game in some regions more difficult than others. So you guys who are having issues with trying to get the game or trying to pre-release essentially whenever you could pre-download it, they're just kind of talking about, they're trying to do what they can essentially to get it unlocked in certain regions. There are certain policies that kind of restrict them sometimes, and they're trying to fight against it. And then essentially at the end of it, it's just saying, hey, you know, feedback on network, account switching, and binding issues. We're kind of working on that as well. So overall, it's just a matter of like, hey, here's the main points. They also just added, I really like that they added this second one because they really didn't have to add this stuff. They could have just brushed past it, but it's nice that they talked about the font sizes and PC versions as well. And obviously the main stuff is the issues that we're all having with, you know, the rainbow cards, the event, and all that kind of stuff. So it's nice to see that they're at least making an effort. While it might not satisfy everybody, honestly, but it's just one of those things where I personally love communication. I want to see the communication, and I want to see that you're at least working on it. There's a lot of issues where certain games will just wait for days to kind of wash up and to essentially just get really screwed, and then they'll finally say something. It's nice that they were just like, hey, we heard you yesterday. You know, you guys kind of came at us, and we definitely understand. Let's fix it. Instead of being like, hey, about a week ago, you guys complained, you're still complaining, so I guess we'll fix it. You know, it doesn't really feel like they're just doing it just to get us to shut up. It really feels like, hey, we understand, we totally get what you're trying to say, and let's go ahead and move on from here and try to do what we can to be better. So honestly, I really applaud them for just being so fast anyway, and I'm not trying to like piggyback on it because it's like, obviously they did some things that messed up, but it's just the fact that they're here, they're trying to pay attention, and they're trying to give some feedback. So let's at least give them a little bit of a thumbs up for that at least. Anyway, guys, I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.